Whenever you see a few Tesla bulls on television, you'll get at the same time Tesla bears and haters out in force also. Tesla bull Dan Ives of Wedbush Securities is confident again we'll see the stock jumping up to $300 by end of the year. But at the same time, there's a lot of talk these days of how Elon Musk manages all the companies he runs. Many news outlets are suggesting that Tesla's either harming the other companies like SpaceX, Neuralink, and XAI, for example, and if Tesla falls, the others will also. This is so crazy as so many of us see the exact opposite, that all these companies help each other. So today we'll watch a video where Dana Hall of Bloomberg thinks Tesla's slump is because of his distractions. Any surprises here? I've got Larry Goldberg joining me. We'll watch these videos together and we'll get his reaction to them. Welcome, Larry.
Thanks, Herbert. Great to be here.
Let's watch the first one, a Tesla bull, and then later we'll watch the Tesla haters. Let's watch Dan Ives here. He's talking about Tesla again. He's always been a bull, but he certainly went through the first quarter of this year, the second quarter, upset a little bit at Tesla's management for not doing proper communication, and that, he felt that they were just shooting themselves in the foot. Of course, in the last earnings call, Tesla communicated incredibly well all the things that they're working on. The low-cost affordable vehicles is still on track. They're very bullish about what to expect for the year. And then, of course, the focus on robotaxi. So Dan is now back to saying we're going to be talking $275 or $300 for Tesla as we play out the next 12 to 18 months. Let's watch the video.
What about Elon Musk and Tesla? This was a name you loved. You loved his vision. You wanted him to be the adult in the room. You felt like he did that in the last call, missed it on the prior call, but grew up in one quarter. Now what? What's your target on Tesla these days? How much do you like it or not so much?
Yeah, look, I think this is what I think an overhang gets removed when the comp package gets approved at the shareholder meeting. And I think then you now start to see demand tick back up in China as we go in the second half of the year. Numbers are lowered, and then I think the FSD autonomous vision starts to take hold, and that's why when I look at Tesla, I ultimately think this is one we're going to be talking $275, $300 for Tesla, as we play out over the next 12 to 18 months.
Yesterday, I spoke to, this is my final thought, but yesterday I spoke to Steve Wesley, who used to be a former board member of Tesla, but he always liked Tesla a lot, but he said that the August 8th event is huge. I want to know how huge you think that August 8th event is. And he said, one, we better hear more about one of these two things or both, full self-driving and the $25,000, a reality vehicle. These are imperative. What say you? How big is the event and what's imperative to see at this August 8th event?
Scale 1 to 10, I'd call it an 11 in terms of how important it is. But because just like Steve talked about autonomous, and ultimately it's the sub 30K car. We'll call it a model 2.5 that we believe comes out early next year. And I think that will be the vision. That's how you're going to be talking about 3-4 million units per year. It's all about that sub 30K.
Okay, so Larry, scale of 1 to 10, how important is 8.8?
Yeah, I would give it a 12 or a 13. Listen, Dan Ives is my favorite of all analysts because he's got such a way with the language. I mean, he really has got this great vision and language. Look, we had a lot of risk going into the last earnings call because Elon had miffed several earnings calls. He has a gut hate of those calls and those analysts, but he stepped up and did a great job at communicating. I think that 8.8 is of order importance right up there. I think we will see both. I think we will see autonomy, we will see robotaxi, and we will see the sub $30,000 or $25,000 car. I know you and I have disagreed on that in the past, but I believe we're going to see two vehicles on 8.8, or at least we will be shown, whether they're renders or they're actual vehicles that will roll on. I'm not sure. And that's very, very important. But look, bottom line is whatever's shown on 8.8, 2025 is the critical year. 2025 is the year that, Tesla is going to start this next wave upwards. And I think it's going to be very, very significant. I'm not suggesting that you take my advice to buy stock or whatever, but my expectation is, and it has been for a long time, 2025 is a critical year. We're going to see, real traction in that period of time. And I haven't changed my view.
So Dan is pretty optimistic about the shareholder vote. He said that will pass. It will remove a overhang. He's also pretty optimistic about China. He said by second half of the year that could turn. What's your thinking about those two comments?
I think China and the US have turned. I get a sense that sales have picked up. And, by the way, here in Europe, I'm in Denmark, every second car is a damn Tesla. It's amazing. And, everywhere I go in Europe, these supercharger stations are packed. Packed. Mm-hmm. I haven't had to wait, not once, but I've always been like only 2 slots open or 1 slot open. It's been that close. Business here is very good. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, I just did a report where Cox Automotive did a pretty significant research, and they showed that it's a slowdown in electric vehicle is just a blip. That in fact that the forecast is still very much an exponential curve, and that in the U.S. they're expecting 2.2 million cars sold by 2025, which is up from 1.1 million just this year and last year. So by next year, it's going to double. And so people are going, that's a slowdown. You think that because you've been hearing from the automakers, but in fact, the demand is there and it's doubling. And so who's going to benefit the most, right?
Right. We're going to see a very, very healthy 2025.
Yeah, you've been saying that, which is very conservative, very nicely said. That's good. Let's listen to some Tesla bears and haters, though. So let's take a look. We know this is Dana Hall. She often writes negative articles about Tesla. And they did this constellation where she's showing how Elon and what's happening with Tesla could affect all the other companies. Let's listen in on that.
Does this Elon Musk workflow, organizational chart differ from, well, what we might consider normal?
Yeah, well, I think that a typical company would have a clear organizational chart that would be on its website. Tesla and all of the other companies don't have that. So what we created was sort of a more fluid, ever-shifting, ever-shaping solar system, with Elon as the sun, obviously. And I think it gives people like a better representation of just how Musk operates and how his companies all kind of overlap and interact with each other. I mean, there are many people who kind of play multiple roles, wear multiple hats. The same characters show up over and over again in terms of investors and board members. And, but this is by no means definitive, but it should give people kind of a clear sense of who's surrounding Elon and all of the constellation of the companies.
Dana, some of these sort of critiques of Elon Musk have been around for a while, that he's distracted, that he's got too much on his plate, and I'm sure a lot of his sort of executive leadership would prefer him to be more focused. What sort of inspired Bloomberg and you to take on this project? I'm very intrigued by this graphic that we have on our screens.
Sure. Well, part of it came about because Tesla is facing a very critical shareholder vote on June 13th, and they will be voting again on the pay package that shareholders first approved for Musk at Tesla in 2018. But between 2018 and now, Musk has 2 more companies. I mean, he bought Twitter, which he now calls X, and he started X.AI, a brand new AI company that he's raising billions of dollars for. So his influence and his empire continues to grow. I mean, the guy has a lot of ideas for companies. He used to run 2, then it was 4, now it's 6. I mean, there doesn't seem to be an end to his appetite for startups and for doing a lot of things beyond Tesla.
Okay, well, that wasn't that terrible. She's just saying, okay, the guy's built 2 more companies. Here's all the people that work here, the executives. But then the title of the show is that he's distracted because he's focused on other companies, and then the other title that they use says that Tesla's downfall, which is what they're calling right now, is actually going to affect the other companies as well, and vice versa. Any thoughts on that?
I have never seen such nonsense. I mean, look, between Reuters and Bloomberg, they conjure up these memes. They're memes. That's all they are.
Yeah.
I mean, there's very little evidence behind them. For example, she was saying that there's this constant changing, groups of people. Well, that's nonsense. The management of these companies are very well defined. People don't move between these companies. It's true that there are common investors in all of these companies. I'm an investor in every one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't make me a shifting, constellation, blah, blah, blah. It's nonsense. I invest in them because I have very, very high confidence in Elon Musk and his ability and his vision. And that's true of all these people that she lists in these so-called constellations. Listen, SpaceX today dominates, I mean, absolutely dominates the satellite launch business. It absolutely dominates the satellite phone business. Satellite internet business, I should say. I shouldn't say phone business.
Mm-hmm.
It is about to create the largest rocket ever created. It has already launched the largest rocket ever created. It's about to turn that into a system that's going to change spaceflight forever. Boeing are just about to launch, maybe they pray, two astronauts 4 years late.
Mm-hmm.
Who, pray tell me, was distracting the CEO of Boeing?
Yes.
I mean, where these people come up with this bull, I have no idea. But for gosh sakes, SpaceX just executes. And I dare say, Tesla has been executing. The Cybertruck is one of the most successful launches ever of a large vehicle. And, Neuralink just won. Neuralink just hit a home run.
Yeah.
Who's distracting whom? You know who's distracted? The frigging press is distracted. They can't get enough of Musk's name on their
right
headline. And Dana Hull's the worst. No, she's not the worst. Reuters are actually worse than Bloomberg. But they're all bad because they conjure these stories from whole cloth. And they make these,
clicks.
fancy diagrams and so on.
Mean
and
nothing.
it's all bull.
Yeah.
Sorry to get so exercised here.
I love it. It's very interesting because obviously you and I see things very opposite, very different than what they're saying. For example, SpaceX, like you said, is so successful. It's getting there. I've heard people, and I don't know if this is true, but they've said that he's actually got more billions in SpaceX than he does in Tesla at this point, and that if he needed to, they're only doing they're doing secondary sales so they can allow shareholders of SpaceX be able to take out some of the money. So he's able to take billions from that if he needs it. That's one thing I heard. And then I've got several questions to ask you about that I've already been asking a bunch of people about the relationship between XAI and Tesla, right? So one idea was people are saying, which I don't think it's going to happen, but this idea that, he wants 25% control because he's concerned about, sentient robots doing military and doing harmful things. If he builds it in XAI, he just raised $6 billion. He's now $24 billion value. XAI can become the brains of the bot. He will control the brains of the bot. And then maybe some people are saying maybe Tesla can buy XAI. And when they do, he will get his 25% control because obviously he owns almost all of XAI. What you're thinking about these kinds of plan C's and D's that are potentially out there?
I think, some of these thoughts may or may not have passed between he and his advisors in his mind. I think that we are so tied up with his, net worth and what he's going to do and so on and so forth. He's just focused on getting these things to success. XAI is something that would never be in Tesla. Why? Because XAI is focused on taking, this stream of data from X and turning it into really valuable, large language model or large knowledge model, if you like. And some of that could be of great value to Tesla, but that's not Tesla's mission. And that's not what Tesla is going to be doing. And the same is true of X. X is completely independent of XAI. It has an interest in XAI, but its principal business is not XAI. Its principal business is the Everything app. And it's going to become the Everything app. And the Everything app's going to be very valuable to XAI. But it's a separate business. And the same is true of SpaceX. So, I think definitely the issue of control of Tesla is exercising Elon's mind, and it will continue to exercise his mind until the matter is clearer. But, he said, and I believe him, if he doesn't get it, then, he will, I don't think he'll leave the company, but I think he will definitely take a step back and maybe leave the company.
Okay. Yeah. I know you and I had this big debate last show, and you're pretty concerned. You're not concerned about what's going to happen in the 8.8, but if it does happen, you're just warning that it could be much more serious than people are saying, which is fair. What you just said makes sense, though, right? Every company is focused on a very different mission from each other, and because of Elon, he's able to just amazing what he does. Each of these companies seem to be very successful on their own. And yet the integration between them and how they can help each other is so important. And for us people who are invested in Tesla, I know you're invested in every one of them, you said, but some of us are just Tesla. We benefit from all these companies. You need to have a partnership with a large language model and large vision model, large knowledge model, you called it, just like the robot companies out there, they're partnered with OpenAI, they're partnered with NVIDIA. And so Tesla needs to have its version. If they don't want to partner with an OpenAI, he needed to create his own. And it's going to turn out to be better than OpenAI. It's how you're going to communicate with the bots. It's how you're going to communicate with the cars. It's how the bots and the cars will be able to use language and video. But then on top of that, you got FSD, which is understanding real world videos that no one else has. So these combinations, it's just going to surpass everyone else, right? So the combination of them, like when I saw the Bloomberg video, so what? It's actually a positive that you have all these different constellations because it's such a benefit to Tesla. And she was just trying to say that when Tesla's down, these other companies are going to get down too. And it's like, what? It's the opposite.
Have you noticed these articles that the stuff in the article very often doesn't reflect what the headline
the title
says?
Yeah, that's true.
So the headline is there to get the clicks. Once you get into the body of the article, it's actually not the management that's crosses the lines at all. It's just the shareholder, the principal investors. I mean, what are they trying to? Fidelity is an investor in X. And it happens to be an investor in X.AI. By the way, Fidelity is an investor in SpaceX as well. And by the way, Fidelity is an investor in Tesla as well. Why is that news? It's not in an article because, Fidelity is just an institutional investor. But Luke Nosek. Oh my God, Luke Nosek's in this company and that company. My God, let's do a diagram. This is so silly. This is this is trying to read the tea leaves. This is childish.
What are you thinking about Tesla is in a very critical position. This is very interesting, actually, at this moment in time where you've got robotaxi about to be solved, about to be launched. At the same time, you got a very precarious scenario with a shareholder meeting, the judge and political, whatever happened, they were able to just get him to that point. They did a great job. So what happens at this point is that you've got, people are saying, noticing this, the Tesla haters is out in full force. They see a potential. It's almost like in 2018 when the company could have gone bankrupt. Right. Tesla haters came full force. Tesla shorts came full force because they go, oh my God, we have this opportunity to make this company go bankrupt. And the bulls come in and they're dwindling. There are bulls, and then it flipped in 2019-20, more bulls, less shorts. But now the haters are back out there because they see an opportunity. Is this what you're seeing?
Absolutely. And 2025 is going to be a short. Shorts are going to be burned just like they were in 2020. I mean, it's going to be terrible. Mm-hmm. And I wish they wouldn't allow themselves to get into this state. I just wish they wouldn't. I don't understand the value add because look, it's tough. I don't understand the hatred of the man. I just don't get it. I do understand that he's controversial. I do understand people don't agree with him. But this naked hatred, this, I don't understand it. It's very hard to gauge. I can see why the press, love to print this clickbait and stuff like that, because that's what the press has become. It's unfortunate. But I don't understand the hatred. I just don't. Anyway.
I understand the hatred. That's, to me, very simple to understand. He's disrupting major industries, so including the journalist industry. He's very political. So you've created this, complete opposite sides, and they're fighting for their lives. But what I don't understand is the people who can't separate between Elon Musk and the company. So you can not like Elon Musk because of his, whatever you want to say, his political stance as an example. But at the same time, you realize Tesla has going to succeed and SpaceX will succeed and all these companies will succeed. The business and the products are awesome. You can examine that separately. But what they've done is they've taken their hatred of the person and then they bash the company when, okay, well, if you have a fair point, go ahead and make that. But if you don't have a fair point, don't make things up. And that's what we see. Basically, it's misinformation, disinformation that's coming out there. But you know what I mean? Like, I fully understand why people hate him. He's like a bull, right? He's breaking things apart and he's creating something that's new. And there's going to be a lot of people who's being the one broken.
Yeah, I mean, it's, he makes his bed and he has to lie in it. And that's just the reality of Elon. Would he be the same Elon? I've just finished my second book on Edison.
Yeah.
And in so many ways, Edison was similar. There are a lot of differences between the two, but Edison also was a catalyst for a changed world. And, he brought about the change. He really was a very important catalyst for a changed world. And, it's very interesting, the differences, but the similarities as well. But, I'm interested to see, and I don't know if I'll be around, to see Elon age and how, the world views him as he ages. Because, that's kind of the test of the man, ultimately. It'd be very interesting. I think that at the end of the day, Elon has a good heart, and that's what counts.
Thank you so much, Larry. Yeah, for a unique scenario, we got bulls who, some of us bulls continue to see positives, and we see things like you said, 2025 is going to be amazing. Lots of bulls have fallen off the wayside. they are, they get tired of the flat stock for the last 3 years. They bought into this whole thing about automotive is falling and that Tesla is always delayed. And then you got the bears and the haters coming out back again full force. So here we are. And then the shareholder meeting, I think we all agree, is a critical time. And we'll see what happens after that. And it's happening very soon. It's like basically, holy cow, it's coming like in 2 weeks, isn't it?
2 weeks, yeah.
June 13th.
I'll be flying home as it happens.
Okay. All right. Well, we have folks that are going to be on the ground. Jeff Lutz and Alexander Mertz are definitely going to be there. I'm going to miss this one, but I'm going to for sure be on the 8.8 Robotaxi. That's where my focus is.
We'll see you in 8.8. I'll be there.
We'll see them. Nice. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thanks. Please follow Larry at Tesla Larry. Thanks all. Bye-bye. I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com.